Hi, I'm Andrew Cox from Amcom, and this is a presentation on our virtual call centre on the reporting features. So what we're looking at here first of all is a dashboard. Now the dashboard, the intention of a dashboard is what's the most important thing, and usually in a call centre the most important thing is how many calls are in queue. So we're actually monitoring two call centres here, both of which are rather quiet because the focus back on East Coast Australia, and it's nearly 7 o'clock over there at the moment, so there's not a lot happening. But basically what happens is this queue is able to hold up to 10 calls at a time, and as the calls in queue build, we'll see an orange bar build up here, and if people start getting sick of waiting, then we'll start to see a blue bar of abandoned calls build up. And the idea is that this dashboard is set up so that I can drag it free and put it into it's going to reload, which will take a second, but I can put it into a separate window. And then the idea is that I could drag that window and put that on a separate screen, which could be sitting in a room with a call centre, so that all the agents can see, gee, there's a fair few calls in queue and people are starting to get tired and abandoned. We better, increase the pace so that it keeps everybody conscious and responsive of what's going on. So that's the dashboard feature. Then, so that's a real-time report, and of course the supervisor has got real-time monitoring of what's happening in the call centre. It can listen and barge in. But then after the event, it's very important to review the overall performance of the organisation and be able to look back and see, well, how did we perform for the month or for the day or for the week? So there are a number of relevant measures to this. One of these is the service level, and you can set the service levels in the organisation to say, well, so many calls should be answered within 1 minute, so many calls, proportionate of calls should be answered within 30 seconds. And in fact, our level 1 is all calls answered within 30 seconds. So you can see most of the time we're hitting 100% of calls or 100% service level 1. But then there are times when the queues start to build up when the duration is longer, so that we're getting to service level 3 in this case here, and this little green is service level 2, so a percentage of calls at the higher service level. We get another view of queue performance as well, which is showing us the number of calls that were abandoned during a period and the duration that people had to wait before the calls were answered. So you can see most of the time they're not waiting at all, they're just going straight to an agent. And then we're getting longer durations here of 32 seconds. And then obviously we must have been busy here because we actually had people waiting over 3 minutes. And in a couple of instances there have been 1 or 2 brief periods where there were calls as long as 8 minutes during that month. So, and overall for the month, 2.9% of calls were abandoned. So, we'd like to keep it lower than that, but that's the measure that we hold ourselves accountable to. And if I want to drill down into the detail, I can see on a half-hourly, or I can use different periods, I can see on a half-hourly basis the full detail and look and get down into the into the data of what happened in an event where, when the fat hits the fire and the chips are down in the call centre and you get really busy, you can actually go down and look, and if you needed to, and look at the detail. Plus I can click on this button here and export all of the data to an Excel spreadsheet so that I can do separate analysis on the data. So you can see, and I'm just going to come back up to the interface where I pull that report, so I can choose the duration of the period that I want to report on. I can look at one or several call centres in a single report. I can set the service levels for myself, and I can get down to the period in which I want to look at things, half-hourly periods and so on. And then at the individual agent level, I can choose an agent and a period. I'm going to choose 1 week of data here. Submit the report, and I'm going to look at all of these agents, and I'm going to get a view. And this is actually pulling live data out of our cloud. So while it's pulling the data, I'll just make a comment. You don't have to deploy any servers to hold this information. There's no systems to build. This is just a piece of ordinary Windows software that runs on an ordinary Windows machine, and it connects to our cloud-based services so that you can have this at your fingertips, both at the office where the call centre is, but frankly from anywhere in the world. I'm in Perth monitoring a Melbourne-based call centre, and I can do all of the tools just as if I was present in the room. So we can see that across our agents overall, A lot of our calls are getting answered directly without even having to go into the queue. 30% are going into the call distribution, and our call centre agents are responsive help desk people who are making quite a lot of outbound calls as well. I can also see for individuals how much time they put people on hold for, how much talk time, how much wrap-up time while they were making notes after closing off a ticket or a conversation, how much time was idle and how much time they were staffed. So I get a sense of productivity. You can see who's quick to resolve things. You can see who spends a lot of time in wrap-up time or unavailable, morning tea or whatever, and overall makes the operation of all the individuals in a call centre completely transparent and accountable back to the business. So, when you introduce these tools to a business, it's remarkable how a bit of transparency and a bit of management information does tremendous things, both to the level of service that you can provide to your customers and also to the way that your staff perform and make themselves accountable to the business for the value they deliver to you. So I hope you've got something from this, and recommend that you ask one of our representatives to give you a personal demonstration and an explanation of the call centre so that you can see it for yourself. Thanks for your time.